It's just the way I can't keep you honest like you're coming clean. It's just the way you seem to be addicted to leaving me. It's just the way now that I can't sleep at night. Now that you're gone, it's just the way you don't know which direction I was coming from. It's just the way I can't seem to tell apart all of your rights from wrongs. It's just the way now that I know that you're lonely. I know you'll only lie to silence. Lie to silence. Convince yourself you think you're better now. Try to pretend again. You know, I know now you will put on a good show, but I don't know why you ever care. You can't stop yourself from coming over. It's just the way I know you have two devils on both of your shoulders. It's just the way now that I know that you're lonely. I know you'll only lie to the silence. Lie to the silence. Convince yourself you think you're better now. Try to pretend again. You know, I know now you will put on a good show, but I don't know why. 'Cause we know better. Where's the place where we miss again? I know you're doing just fine. Hey, I gave regrets. The cost is too high. I know the things that you said in the night. Like I don't feel right. I don't feel wrong. You know, I know how we're never gonna get past life's humanity. Shut us the victims and we'll never know who's right. You know, I know we don't go together. You might change, but not for the better, babe. You know, I know well. You know, I know well. 'Cause I too have been here before, and I'm lying to the silence. Lie to the silence. Convince yourself you think you're better now. Try to pretend again. You know, I know now you will put on a good show, but I don't know why you ever care. 'Cause we know better. Where's the place where we miss again? This is for you and all the things that we've been through. I know you're wrong about the last time that we ever spoke aloud. Don't let your own goodbyes, don't let them own you always. You know you're right, that's why you run away. Two things we couldn't be together now. We're not lonely. All I have is much better when you look at it plainly.
Hey, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Araya. Oh, sorry, almost had a little malfunction there. Nope, I am having a malfunction here. Sorry about that, guys. Welcome to the Araya Swift Lifestyle Pro Series. We're here live at Homestead, Miami for Homestead 195. I'm Hunter Sleppy, your lead announcer for the Araya Swift Lifestyle Pro Series. Joining me in the booth is producer Harold Garner and Jacob Bell. Jake, how's it going?
Doing great, man. Happy to be here. Homestead Miami Speedway down in South Florida. I think we're going to have a lot of action on the racetrack, a lot of different grooves to work with, and watch these guys battle it out after an awesome first week in Daytona.
Yes, indeed. And what better way to kick it off than to go down to Homestead, a track that many, and I believe almost everyone, believes that it should be the championship-ending track. But tonight it's the second race of the 17 race schedule.
Yeah, and I think we'll see a lot of different action. Top groove should be working just fine. The bottom groove should be working just fine. These drivers are going to have a lot of different options and tools at their disposal to make their moves around the racetrack and try to get up there and compete for the win. And obviously last week at Daytona, we saw an awesome race. Lots of green flag pit stops. I don't think that was something we really expected heading into the season opener at Daytona for the America's Auto Auction 225. But that's what we ended up with. A lot of different action on the track, and looking forward to tonight.
Yeah, not just in ARCA too, but in the other three leagues as well, including the Araya 500, which went caution-free. Not typical that you go to Daytona, you have almost the entire field finishing. But we're at Homestead, and as you mentioned earlier, there's multi-groove racing here. You can run the bottom, the middle, the top. Really, it's just a fascinating racetrack all the way around.
Absolutely. And of course, you see the sun kind of setting there in the background of our current shot. It's going to get darker as the race goes on and as the night goes on. Obviously, we got 3 minutes left to practice, but that sun's going to continue to drop, and the track temp's going to cool from this 83 degrees track temp that we're currently seeing.
Yep, Lottie's TravelWorld.com has our weather forecast here. It's race number 2. It's mostly cloudy, but the sun is setting. As you mentioned, track temp 83, air temp 80, humidity at 67, which you might want to add a 0 next to that. And the wind from, almost read that as the sea, even though it is close to the sea. Southeast at 12 miles an hour right now.
Yeah, we'll see this change throughout the night. I kind of was just touching on that. So we'll have to bring up that graphic as the race goes on. I think we'll kind of get 3 different phases of this race tonight. Right now, with the sun setting and that track temp being 83 degrees, that's probably the hottest we'll see it. So what these drivers did in practice is probably going to be the loosest conditions they're going to have all night. Qualifying will be interesting to see how these guys can adjust to the track temp as the sun is setting. And then when the race goes on, I think we might see a different phase of the race as well. I think at the beginning portions, we'll see those guys who are typically up front are going to be quicker in the slicker kind of track conditions as the race goes on and we get further into the night. A lot of those drivers who do better in a stable type of race car might head their way to the front. So we might have a lot of different leaders tonight, and I'm looking forward to watching it.
Yeah, you mentioned, actually, I'm about to bring this up. We have 130 laps scheduled for us tonight, and we're just under 2 minutes left in this current practice session before our 10-minute qualifying session. It's going to be 2 laps around the track. And we see right now our leaderboard shows that the 19 of Rick Christensen is your leader in practice.
Yeah, Rick Christensen, he has done a great job so far this season. And in the past few weeks where we've seen him racing at this track and in this ARCA car, very, very quick driver. So not super surprised to see him at the top of the practice board. Matthew Robinson, Sean Corker on, Eli Green, and then our 5th place driver, Hunter, somebody we actually wanted to touch on a little bit. It's going to be the number 84 of Forrest Smith. He's actually joined forces, and we have a new team this week. It's not very often you really see in iRacing a new team come about. That's exactly what we saw this last week. One Mind to Design Motorsports. They already had a truck team with Nick Trader and Drew Trader. They actually threw their hand in this Area Pro Series now, and they have the number 84 Forrest Smith, as well as the number 69 of Gary Lewis. Those 2 drivers are going to be competing now in the points championship alongside of Samson Motorsports. So it's going to add another little layer to this Pro Series as the season goes on. Now we have 2 teams in the team championship. It'll be interesting to keep tabs on that. But obviously, starting 1 week in the hole already, it's going to make it an uphill fight.
Indeed it will, and those 2 are amongst names that are new to this Araya Swift Lifestyle Pro Series. There are 4 other drivers that are making their debut tonight. At the 21 of Dominic DeLeo, the 15 of Nolan Neiman, sorry. 44 of Jason Higginbottom, and the 57 of Jordan Berry. Those are the other new drivers that are making their debut tonight at Homestead.
Yeah, and we also see a few new guys that were supposed to be there last week and then ended up missing the race for some reason. So Trevor C. Williams in the number 1 is another one of those drivers, and we'll see how it all plays out tonight. Practice, of course, just ending as the timer is running out now, and we're going to head over to qualifying.
Yep, qualifying is 10 minutes, and it's a 2-lap session for each guys, and it's different for everyone else, as we saw at Daytona last week, where it's not everyone on the track at once. They're all got the track to themselves, and we'll be watching the rest of the way to see who gets pole. Could it be our practice winner, Rick Christensen, or the guy behind him, Matthew Robinson? He's been pretty quick.
We'll have to see. I see the 30 of Matthew Hedrick actually looks like might be our first car out on track, as he's kind of slowly rolling off the pit road, and he's now coming through the bottom portions of the racetrack there, the pit exit here. It's a tricky pit exit. We've seen various mistakes. We were kind of chuckling earlier. We've seen Dean Gagliano before actually end up on the road course trying to leave pit road under green flag conditions. So that'll be something to keep an eye on, I'm sure, as the night goes on and on. But right now, the 30 of Matthew Hedrick on track to make his first qualifying effort of the season. He's another one of those guys who we did not see last week at Daytona, Hunter.
No, he did not, and he's making his debut tonight also. So here he is coming off of turn 4 in the black and yellow number 30, taking the green flag for his first lap and kind of getting the approach as to where he runs here. And he's running the middle of the track. Mentioned earlier that you can run the bottom, middle, or the top. And right now we're seeing him run in the middle of the groove right now.
And Matthew Hedrick, we're actually able to see his license class. Looks like he's a D-class driver, so one of those guys who's kind of newer to iRacing or newer to league racing. So we'll have to watch his development throughout the season. He might not come out and light up the charts right away, but I'm sure he'll get better and better each and every week, because he's working the bottom there through turn 4, really on the low side of the racetrack. See Jordan Berry in the 57 go to the top of the charts. First lap for the 30. It's actually going to put him in the 6th spot with a 34.47. There you see Matthew Robinson, who just took the top spot away.
The Skipper's Virginia native was pretty quick in practice. Only driver that was faster than him was the 19 of Rick Christensen. And here he is on his 2nd lap looking to add to it. Takes the bottom line through 3 and 4. Let's see where he puts himself up. Oh, he gets loose off of 4.
Yeah, this track is going to be difficult as this sun's going down. Going to get slicker and slicker, or excuse me, it's going to be as slick as it will be right now as Robinson completes his 2nd lap in that number 40. Still stays at the top of the charts. Here comes Dom DeLeo and then number 21, Ben and Jerry's machine. We actually saw a little bit of an interaction on Twitter pre-race with Dominic. He's mentioned over-under tonight. He's got a sports betting podcast. You guys should go check him out on Twitter. He's a great follow. But he mentioned his over-under tonight, Hunter, was 29.5 for his finishing position with only 25 entries at the moment. I think it's pretty good to hammer the under.
I'm going to hammer the under as well. The Piscataway, New Jersey native comes off of turn 4. He's one of our 6 newer drivers making their debut tonight. He's going to come across the line.
A nice spot.
He is.
P9. Solid lap there for Dom.
That was his first lap, and he's going to take high approach, go through middle, coming off of turn 2 and down the backstretch. So far, no one's been able to dethrone Matthew Robinson, currently the fastest with a 33.601.
And actually, correction on that, I thought we had 25 entries. It actually jumped up to 26 entries now for tonight's race. So got one in the wall, looks like the 97 there, Jacob York. We're going to jump on now with the number 1 of Trevor Williams, another one of those guys. I feel like we kind of got a theme of a lot of guys making their debut tonight, but Trevor is another one of those, and he's coming through turns 1 and 2 now. He's currently got the 9th spot on the qualifying chart, so he's going to be completing his 2nd lap here. We haven't seen a lot of people pick up times on their 2nd lap. Looks like he is one of those few to do so. He's actually going to go from the 9th spot and jump him up to the 7th spot in the number 1.
The Tawana, Pennsylvania native puts it P7, and also Jake Flumen looks like he hit the wall also. I'm looking, he's with Jacob York here on lap times that are not being counted. Because if you do make contact with the wall, it basically gives you a big red X saying that your lap time will not be counted. Doesn't matter how fast it is.
any incident points at all. So it can be hitting the wall. It can be as simple as getting into the grass. Obviously, that's not a huge concern here, but when you go to the likes of a road course like Watkins Glen, which we will head to this season, and that grass being right up next to the racing surface makes those qualifying laps a lot more difficult, because if you do head off course and get an incident point, it disallows your lap, as Hunter was saying there. But not a lot of action on the track right now. About halfway through our qualifying session with 5 minutes left. The drivers' meeting will open up. Our admins tonight are Brad Slaughter Jr. and Ryan Hartz are going to be in the admin tower for the Swift Lifestyles Pro Series race number 2 tonight at Homestead.
Hey, Jake, what you guys were saying about the incident points, actually, iRacing, if it's on the strict qualifying, even a 0x will nullify. So if you barely touch the wall and don't even get a 2x for it, it will nullify.
Exactly. Yep.
So very strict, which I kind of like that idea. You don't want people using the outside. Like I've seen people actually use it Bristol when they were not doing that.
Drivers' meeting's underway with Brad Slaughter Jr. leading the way. I'm going to go ahead and listen in and let Hunter take us through the remaining 4.5 minutes here of qualifying.
Yes, indeed, and we still have quite a bit of drivers who have yet to put a lap time down. I believe they will wait until the race to get a feel for their car and see how well it handles. So it looks like your pole sitter for the moment is going to be Matthew Robinson in the 40, with Sean Corcoran joining him on the front row in the number 22. So you see the lap times there on the left side of your screen and the leaderboard. You'll see the drivers who have yet to put down a lap time or had their lap time taken off for making contact with the wall. Two of those drivers being Jacob York and Jake Fleming. Jacob York, with his lap time, it would have put him to 10th on the racetrack. Oh, and here's his cousin, Michael Leipz. Speak of the devil.
Got that Home Depot 26.
It's a good nod to Tony Stewart. Anytime I think of Home Depot or see Home Depot, I think of Tony Stewart, that iconic number 20. A little bit of a different design here. He got some black and some white mixing in with the orange. Oh, and he's sideways. He's gonna, I almost thought he was gonna spin out. He saves the car, but he stops on the track. He's gonna reset and basically have a one-lap go at it.
If he was able to get it locked down before he got to the start-finish line there, technically didn't start that lap time, so he'll get to come back around, get the momentum built up in that number 26.
We'll see how he's able to do so. But it did look like he did, Jake. He did not cross the stripe for the lap.
There we go.
So he gets both laps then.
He'll get the one lap because his out lap will count as his first lap. He crosses, but he'll get.
If he gets going again, he's kind of chilling on pit road.
Yeah, he's not sure if he's gonna go or not. So.
We do got 18 times currently posted. You see that on the left of your screen. That's our current qualifying. I can't really call it results yet with 2 minutes left, but still got a handful of guys that either can make a lap or got an incident point on their lap and wasn't able to complete it. Right now, Matthew Robinson with a 33.601. Top of the charts by a decent margin over Sean Corcoran in second with that 33.692. Still kind of waiting and trying to see if we can find any action on the track. Not sure, other than Michael Leipz sitting on pit road, if we're going to have that.
Currently, no drivers are out. They're all getting ready, try talking to their crew chiefs, setting up the strategy for tonight's event.
Yep, 130 laps, so it's going to be a decent amount of time to kind of adjust as the night goes on to, whatever strategies, pit strategies. We saw a lot of green flag stops last week. Who knows if we see those again tonight? These drivers, when the green flag does drop, they're going to have 3 sets of tires in the pits. So they'll have the opportunity to come down and get fresh tires on 3 separate occasions. Other than that, the fuel window's looking like about 40 to 50 laps. We'll have to crack out on that once the green flag starts, or once the green flag drops, we'll get a better picture of what the fuel strategy is looking like for tonight. But with those 3 sets of tires, I think those are going to play a big role in deciding who's going to be up front. Who's going to have the quicker car with those fresh tires is going to be about pit strategy, and it's going to be very, very important tonight as we see a follow on the Twitch channel down there. Core V Videos look like dropping a follow, so I want to give you guys a big shout out, everybody listening and watching on Twitch. We appreciate your guys' viewership.
Yeah, and just a little quick history with Homestead, Miami. It was built around the mid 90s, but it was more known as a flat racetrack, almost like a miniature Indianapolis. And then it underwent some renovations after 2002, in which they added 18 to 20 degrees of banking throughout the turns and a little more banking on the straights in 2003. And since then, the track has aged well enough to where we have multi groove racing from top, middle to bottom, and was home for the last, I'd say, 2003. I'd say around the last 18 or so races for the championship in all three major NASCAR series. Obviously, that's been moved to Phoenix, but I'm sure most of the people will say that this is the true championship racetrack.
And qualifying, just finishing up here, and just wanted to go over. We got a new subscriber here on Twitch, A-Trey U8856, cheering on the 69 and the 84 of One Mind to Design Motorsports. So, want to give a big thank you and shout out to you for your subscription as we got the starting grid here, Hunter, for tonight's race number 2 in the Swift Lifestyles Pro Series.
Yep, on your pole will be the number 40 of Matthew Robinson on the inside, and joining him on the outside is the 22 of Sean Corker.
Row number 2 is where you're going to see that new One Mind to Design Motorsports machine. It's the 84 of Forrest Smith. He's going to roll off third. And then starting fourth is going to be Eli Green in the number 28.
Row number 3 will have last week's winner, Nick Halda, in the 87, and alongside him, James Shainwolf making his debut tonight in the 83.
Trevor Williams is going to roll off on the inside of row 4. Alongside him, Jordan Berry in the 57.
Row 5 will have Brandon Hedrick, and alongside him, new-time driver Dominic DeLeo.
He's got a lot of fans down there in Twitch early on too, so we'll have to keep an eye on the 21 as the night goes on. Starting in row 6 is going to have Bobby Tinch and JJ Wang in the 00.
In row number 7, we'll have the 30 of Matthew Hedrick, and alongside him, the 3 of Kevin Hayes.
Rick Christensen's going to roll off 15th. Outside of him, Eric Shugart, almost a winner last week at Daytona.
Row number 9. Yeah, almost at 8. Row 9 will have 18 of Caleb Steimer. And then alongside him, Nolan Neiman, another new driver, in the 15.
Row 10, Michael Leip and the 98 of Jake Flumen are going to round out the top 20 starters. Remaining field is going to be the starting 21st, Gary Lewis there in the 69. Starting 22nd, Jason Higginbotham. Brian Dixon, Jacob York, Rick Ward, and Tress Henderson is going to round out our starting field here tonight as they're working down the back straightaway and the lights are off on the pace truck. So we're about to get the green flag here for race number 2.
Just going to say, Gary Lewis looks like a guy you do not want to mess with on the racetrack.
There you go.
Got 130 laps slated here tonight. The front row being led off by Matthew Robinson and Sean Corker. We're going to see that pace truck make a hard left turn on the pit road any moment. Going to be very abrupt. And there it is, almost hitting the barrels. Coming off turn 4, starter has the green flag in his hands. We're underway at Homestead.
Robinson shoots out of a cannon, it looked like, coming out of turn 4 there. He gets a great start. He's going to clear the whole field going down into turn 1. He leads the way. First battle we see, going to rage on for second between Sean Corcoran and Forrest Smith on the bottom.
Yeah, big lead for Matthew Robinson as he head down the back stretch. He's got some 3-wide action going on in the back. That second spot taken by Forrest Smith with James Shainwolf looking inside.
And then outside, you see the 22 already, Sean Corcoran working the top side of the racetrack. Eli Green's actually going to come slide up in front of him and gets real sideways coming through turn 4.
Oh, we got a wreck in the back. We got a wreck in turn 4. Someone just got clipped going down. They might have saved it.
Caution is out.
Caution is out.
Looks like we got a replay here. Some white car there. I can't tell exactly who it is. Looks like he
got it. Michael Leip, Eric Shugart.
Shugart in the 2. I saw him involved there. We'll get you a number here in 1 second, guys, when we take a look at our replay. Right now,
figure out what car that is, but they got into Hedrick, into Leip, and then got clipped by Shugart.
And then Caleb Steiner in the 18, and for some reason we're having issues with his car tonight.
Yeah, trading paints for some reason on the 18 machine, not working too well, but he's the one that goes sideways there coming out of turn 4. He collect a few others. Michael Leip, Eric Shugart, I see the 30 of Matthew Hedrick. I think that's about it for those guys that were involved, but an early yellow here, turn 4, lap number 1. It's kind of one of those slicker parts of the racetrack, so potentially a trend we'll see here as the night goes on.
And, you know, we saw earlier Michael Life was going to put down a lap in practice, but got loose in turn 4 and just decided to park and start from the rear. And looking like that did not play into his favor also.
No.
That was a wrong time, wrong place to be. Just shows the importance of qualifying, because some of those guys that started in the back didn't put down a lap.
Robinson, though, we saw it last week, Hunter. He was one of those guys that stayed up front for a majority of the race and did a great job leading the train kind of around Daytona. And then, you know, at the end, it kind of broke down to how Daytona normally does, but already off to a good start here.
Yeah, not looking good. Beautiful paint scheme, though, but not a good start tonight for Michael Lipe. We've got quite a bit of guys down pit road. There's your current leader right now, Matthew Robinson from Skippers, Virginia. Led every lap so far tonight, and we've only ran 3 laps.
Our admin, Brad Slaughter Jr. up there in the tower, made the call there. He's going to give the EOL to the number 18 of Caleb Steimer, bringing out the first caution of the night. So he'll get that penalty when they get the 1 to green. Right now, they've still got 2 laps before we get the green flag. And want to remind you guys here, we got a few sponsors we'd like to run through and thank, and one of them being Miller Racing Graphics, your #1 source for iRacing graphics, logos, and more. Get 50% off your first paint scheme at facebook.com/MillerSimGraphics. Again, 10% off your first, or excuse me, 50% off your first paint scheme at facebook.com/MillerSimGraphics. They do some great work, and I believe they're on the number 03 of Tress Henderson tonight. So we want to give them a huge shout out, and make sure you guys check out them for any of your iRacing paint schemes needs.
Pretty sure you like the first number better. 10% off rather than 50.
Yeah.
Right, looks like the field's getting double filed up. We might get the one to go this time by. Looks like Shayla's going to take the outside here. You wait to see the lights on the pace track go off. If they do.
Robinson up front there. As you see our race recap presented by McConey Setup Shop, race number 2. 1 caution already for 3 laps, but we do got 24 drivers that started tonight's race. Tress Henderson and Jason Higginbotham not yet made a lap, but they did join the practice session, but those 2 are not being scored so far, so we're down to 24 drivers. Robinson with the quick lap time of a 37-second lap, but that was obviously with the caution coming out here, so we're getting set to stack them back up for the first restart, second start of the night here. It's the 40 at Robinson. You mentioned it though, Hunter. He actually chose the top side of the racetrack.
Yeah, and he got that jump on the initial start, so I'm wondering if he's going to use that into his advances. We got the 18 and the 26 Caleb Steimer and Michael Lipe still on pit road. Don't know if they're done for the night, but they're still scored on pit road.
It sounds like some extensive repairs on the number 18 car before he's able to make it back out onto the racetrack. So right now he'll be sitting on pit road here as we get to the green flag for our restart here for the Swift Lifestyles Pro Series. Robinson, our leader on the top side of the racetrack, gets another good start.
There we go.
Down
you go ahead. Lead them off in the 1 and 2 there. There's a good shot. Guys are really spread out compared to the start of the race.
Yeah. Well, I think when you get an early, quick trigger caution like that on lap 1, it kind of makes everybody go, all right, guys, let's get some laps under our belt here before we get too racy and mixing it up. But as I say that, we got one in the wall. It looks like there in the back might be in the 97 potentially there of Jacob York, but they're working off a turn 4.
Got a little loose there coming off of 4.
Oh yeah, this track is still slick. That sun is still out, and it's going to be a handful until we're completely in darkness and the lights turn on. So these guys are going to have a tough time working the first half of this race.
There's the 97 of Jacob York. He's looking under the 3 of Kevin Hayes back in the pack there. That is going to be for the 14th spot. He's side by side with him down the backstretch.
Now, Robinson's done a pretty good job so far early on. He's already jumped out to a decent margin over the field. We've seen it on the starts and the restarts. He does a great job firing off. But Eli Green in that 28, he's up to 2nd already. And we saw him last week at Daytona with an impressive run. He was really aggressive, making moves throughout the draft. Tonight, another good showing already for him. He's already moved up. He started 4th. He's into 2nd, so +2 on the charts for him. And he looks like he might be one to contend with the 28. Oh,
sorry, I had the car go loose in the back. It looked like it was the 57 of Jordan Berry. He got loose coming off of 4, then he got loose again just coming off of 2.
And that's right in front of last week's winner, Nick Halda, there in the 87. So a close call for him, as these two are still working side by side off of turn 4. Looks like the momentum on the top side, though, really paying off for the 87, or excuse me, the 57 there, Jordan Berry.
All the clear to Bobby Tinch Machine before he got a chance to go to his outside. The Shane Wolf looking a little loose there as he's coming off too.
Yeah, I think it's kind of going to be a trend here, especially on these colder tires until they get, really worked into the heat built up in those things. We're not going to see a lot of these guys taking it easy. It's going to be a loose feel all the way around the track for the most part of tonight's race. So the 87, though, Nick Halda, you see him settling in line. He's currently in the 8th spot. Further back, we kind of see a battle there forming up. It looks like it's the 97 of Jacob York, who just got around the 3 of Kevin Hayes, and now he's working on the 98 of Jake Fleming there right in front of him. And see York up against the wall. One of the only guys we've seen run really, really high, working the turns 1 and 2 side of the racetrack.
I like to call that the Larson line. Kyle Larson likes to smack it along the wall there. Get about as close as a paper's length between the wall and the car.
Yeah, I don't think York's working that close yet, but he is the only one really that we see getting that high up on the racetrack. And look at the run he's getting down the front straightaway. Now he's going to drop it down to the bottom side of the racetrack to try to complete this pass here on Jake Fleming in the 98. This battle is actually for the 12th spot now as they work through turn 1 and 2.
Oh, we got loose there on the apron.
We have a report from the garage that Halo Steimer has parked the car for the night.
Yeah, he is done after an early lap 1 wreck, so not the showing he was hoping for on the 18 camp, but I'm sure we'll see him back next week as we're riding on board now, heading through turn 4 here. You kind of see the sun starting to lower a little bit behind the grandstands on the front straightaway. You're riding with Brandon Hedrick, another one of those guys who had a great run last week at Daytona.
Oh, he's got a gaggle of cars in front of him that are going all over the place on the racetrack.
And behind him. Lots of battling up front. Matthew Robinson, though, continues to show the way. About the same distance between him and the 28 of Eli Green, almost 3 or 4 car lengths. Actually, as I say that, 28 of Eli Green kind of reeling him in a little bit in the 28 car. So the lead is tightening up
really
there.
Nice corner there. He's coming down low on Nick Halda in the 87. York just tapped the wall there, coming off turn 4. See the drivers behind him going to the inside to avoid hitting his backside.
Guys, the 28 up front.
A little bit.
28 up front is reeling in the 40 Matthew Robinson in a hurry. You can see it there in the shot. Also a battle for third going on there, but Eli closing in on the back bumper. It was 4/10 a lap ago. This lap it's down to 2.8 tenths, I guess you could call it. But regardless, he's cutting into the lead there. He's working the high side of the racetrack there off of turn 4. Riding on board with him now as they work down into turn 1 and 2.
See,
and the lights are on.
He's running a little lower through the corners than Robinson.
And it's kind of the opposite of what I was seeing when he was hunting down the 40 of Robinson. He was actually running higher on the racetrack than him. Kind of got to it towards his back bumper and then dropped to the bottom side of the racetrack. And now Robinson's starting to pull away once again.
The battle in the back puts Shane Wolf into 3rd. Forrest Smith falls back 4th. Rounding out the top 5 is that 22 with Sean Corker, who's looking underneath or close to the bumper of the 84.
Well, see, Sean is one of those guys in the 22 back there running 5th right now. He's one of those guys that just stays super consistent. No matter really what racetrack we're at, if it's a super speedway, a mile and a half, a short track, that 22 of Sean Corker on seems to be consistent, keeps his nose clean, and kind of stays in it for the entirety of the event. And then when it's all said and done, gets a decent finish. As you see the 84 there, Forrest Smith running for 1x2 Design Motorsports, the new team here, having a pretty good showing so far.
Yeah, he's got Corcoran in the 22 there on the bottom. That's a car behind him there. That's the 6th place car. Trevor Williams got really loose off the corner. Good save from him. You see Smith running the top and Corcoran running the bottom.
And we'll see the difference in the runs they get here as they exit turn 2 on the back straightaway. About even as they exit the corner, but watch the 84 just really start to pull the 22 down the back stretch.
Yeah, it's almost impossible to run the bottom and complete the pass on the guy outside of you unless he gets into that wall like we saw Jacob York just a couple laps ago.
And there's Forrest Smith still making the top side of the racetrack work as we're already working lap 17 of 130 of tonight's event. So about halfway through a fuel run, maybe a little less than halfway. As there's the 97 of Jacob York. Right behind him, though, is the 21 of Dominic DeLeo. We had some people down in chat really cheering him on. He's got a big fan base working there. He's into 15th. Not a terrible night and not a great night, but he's doing his part and kind of keeping the nose clean so far. We'll have to keep tabs on the 21 throughout the race there, Hunter.
Yes, indeed, and it's he's one of the 6 drivers making their debut tonight, along with the 84 Forrest Smith, who's currently running at the top 5 right now. But still early in the night, plenty of ground to be made up, and like you said earlier, keeping that nose clean.
I feel like you tried to bury Dom there. You kind of threw out the 84. You said, well, that guy's making his debut and he's in 4th, but Dom's back here in 15th. What's that all about there, Hunter?
I was just pointing out one of the newer drivers that are in the league. There are 6 of them. 6 of them making their debut tonight. And currently the 84 is the highest of the 6.
There you go. Well, Robinson, somebody we're very, very familiar with here on this Twitch channel, put on an impressive performance so far. We saw Eli Green kind of close in on him, and then Robinson kind of stretched the lead back out. I think they call that the proverbial cat and mouse game in racing, Hunter.
Yeah, it looked like Robinson was saving his stuff up. Now he's turned on the afterburners and has pulled away quite a bit from Eli Green.
Almost a second lead now. Then you got Shane Wolf back there, 2.7 back. Forrest Smith, you mentioned him, with a pretty solid run there in 4th, and then Sean Corker on our top 5. And looks like now Rick Christensen, how about that? Right on cue, we jump to him, the 19 there on the bottom side of the racetrack. He's one of those guys who's a lot better on the long run. When the tires start getting older, you'll see that 19 head towards the front as he makes a pass there on the 1 of Trevor Williams. Christensen, how about this, Hunter? He started 15th tonight. He's up to 6th.
Well, he was fastest in practice for a reason. Didn't get the good qualifying lap that he wanted, but yeah, he's slowly starting to work his way closer to that top 5 now.
And that's a beautiful paint scheme, too. Infinite Gaming, Garrett Heath, and that team doing a great job developing some drivers in the Pro Series here. JJ Wang being the other, but Rick Christensen up to 6th, as we mentioned, was quickest in practice, so have to keep tabs on that 19. Beautiful job, though, by the Infinite Gaming crew on that machine. And it's a Ford Mustang. one of the few in the field.
The majority of the guys running Chevrolet.
Well, the ARCA car on iRacing is technically it is a Chevrolet Monte Carlo, but it looks like the Infinite Gaming team went over there and they took those Chevy logos off and threw on some Ford Mustang logos. I'm sorry, it's actually an Impala SS, not a Monte Carlo. I've got to get it right for those car guys out there.
Currently 22 laps in our under 30 lap main event. Matthew Robinson leads. We're going to take a quick commercial break, but we'll be right back.
For those of you who are subscribed to us here on Twitch, we're getting non-stop coverage, so no ads for our subscribers here. I want to thank you guys for being a part of the Area iRacing Twitch channel. We got some coverage here of Matthew Robinson while we're on our commercial break, our leader, who's been showing a lot of muscle here early on. I think, Hunter, if we had to pick a favorite so far, I know it's early, race 2 of the season, got a lot of racing left, as he's actually working on lap traffic already. I think you might have to tab Robinson as the championship favorite. What do you think?
We're only 2 races in. It's still too early to tell. There could be some drivers behind him that are going to give him a run for his money, but it's still too early to tell. He's working on the lap traffic.
That's Eric Shugart in the 2. He was happy, but also a little heartbroken last week at Daytona. We thought, I was kind of in the camp that thought Shugart maybe was the race winner, but iRacing actually scored him 2nd when the race-ending caution came out. So instead of getting the win, he ended up with a 2nd place finish, but he was still happy. He said it was his first ever league race. He said his main priority, I went back and watched the broadcast from last week. Eric said his main priority last week was just to not be that guy to cause the big wreck, and he did an awesome job, and he was there at the end and almost won it. It was inches between him and the 87 of Nick Halda.
I'm going to respond to our Twitch traffic there. Steve Daniels asking if we could do a drop-in with Dom. Well, right now he's not even in discourse. We weren't able to do that. And here at Aria and One to Go Studios, we don't like to bother the drivers under green flag conditions.
There we go. That's from producer Harold Darner himself. But yeah, no, Harold, he's making a great point there, guys. We don't like to listen in when these guys are under green flag conditions, no interviews. We're not going to hop in and pull them up. Now, we might pull up an admin or somebody in the tower and talk to them when we get kind of spread out, but we'll let the drivers concentrate on the racing. And right now, look at the concentration needed by Forrest Smith there. working lap traffic, working the 19 of Rick Christensen. Christensen is already up another spot there, Hunter. He's up to 5th now.
I was just going to say, he just passed the 84 there for Smith, and now he's looking on currently the 31 of James Shane Wolf, as shows that he's the 83 on there.
Yeah, tisk on James Shane Wolf, but the 19 of Christensen looking good, man. I think he might have something for Matthew Robinson. He was quicker than him in practice. On the long run, he looks quicker than him right now. Want to give a shout out to Rampage down there for following the Twitch channel. If I see the Twitch alerts there on the ticker, I'll shout him out, but a lot of times we got a lot of action to cover.
And looking at the lap times here, Matthew Robinson is consistently half a second faster than our second place driver, Eli Green. He's been half a second faster than I'd say the last 3 or 4 laps in a row now.
I was actually going to mention that lead. Remember, like it felt like a few minutes ago we were looking at Eli Green on the back bumper of Matthew Robinson. It stretched out to 3 seconds now, so that didn't take very long before Robinson kind of kicked it into high gear. But we're keeping track of Rick Christensen here. He's not making a pass on James Shamewolf for 4th. I think the 19, man. A caution, a little reset later in the race, and kind of heads-up battle between him and the 40. I think it'd be really close as the 19's working into turn 1 on the bottom. Looks like he's going to clear James Shamewolf, so move Christensen up to 4th now. Robinson, our leader, and look at the racetrack, Hunter. We're almost in complete darkness now.
Yep, the lights are on all the way around the racetrack, and it's nothing but clear racetrack right now for that leader of Matthew Robinson. And here's our weather presented by Lottie'sTravelWorld.com. It's now basically dusk. Track time's still the same at 83, although that's expected to go down just a little bit as the night goes on. The winds are still the same. Humidity went up a tad bit more, so these poor virtual fans are sweating their butts off even more.
Want to remind you guys, I see some Twitch comments out there. This is iRacing. It's one of the most probably predominant racing simulators out there. I think you're probably not going to find anybody that does it better than the group over at iRacing. So if you guys are interested, go to iRacing.com, get yourself a membership, and start racing in leagues, kind of like what we got here at Area, or even doing some official racing. They got just about every piece of content you could ask for in the racing world. So make sure you guys check out iRacing.com as we're checking out the 40 of Matthew Robinson. And if the sun is going down,
I was going to say we should be checking out the battle for the back there, because it looks like Sean Corker has caught up to the bumper of Eli Green as Robinson's continued to stretch that lead now to over 4 seconds.
There we go. Harold said, I got you here, Hunter. Boom, puts it on the battle just like that. We got Eli Green trying to fend off the 22 Sean Corker, and he actually slides up. Close race in there.
That's perfect for the driver behind him, Rick Christensen, one of the faster guys on the track. Let's ride on board with this front bumper as we go off into turn 1.
Yeah, he's getting a great view of it. You'll see the 28 and the 22, they were working on each other. Now the 22 put an end to that battle. He actually got around Eli Green, so moved Sean Corker on up to 2nd. But like Hunter mentioned, that battle allowed the 19 of Rick Christensen to tuck right up to their back bumper. He's working the 28 now as they enter turn 3. He'll start to try to make a move, but Christensen's done a great job preserving that car, preserving the tires on those things, and making them last. A reminder here, we got pit stops probably coming up here in about 10 laps. Look at the 28 sideways there off of turn 4. Holy smokes.
Yeah, Christensen had to duck down to the bottom to avoid that. Was just about to touch on the topic that Christensen's running laps that are similar or just a tad bit faster than our leader, Matthew Robinson, right now. He's looking underneath that 28 of Eli Green. They come off turn 2. Looks like he can clear him, and he does.
Yeah, Christensen is rolling right now, man, in that number 19. Of course, Robinson with the big lead. He's out front by over 4 seconds now, but the battling that's been going on behind him has kind of contributed to that big lead right now. It's going to come down to pit strategy, I think, here, Hunter. And I know that's probably something we don't want to listen to after last week and all the different fuel strategies we had at Daytona, but ultimately, I think coming on pit road here early, getting those 4 fresh tires as quick as you can, and then getting out there and making lap time and getting those quick laps down while the others are on older tires and running slower lap times, you'll be able to gain a lot of track position that way.
Yes, indeed. And that last lap, Corker actually ran a little bit faster than our leader.
Oh, there we go. So we got a little bit of a mix-up going on here. And as you mentioned it, Hunter, remember, Corker made that pass and was over 4 seconds behind Robinson. Now he's chopped it down just under 4 seconds as it grows a little bit as I head down the straightaway. But Robinson with the 4-second advantage, it does seem like a lot, I will admit, but he's going to have a lot of different strategies coming his way here in about 10 laps when these guys start coming down pit road for fuel.
Just any moment now we'll be expecting our round of green flag pit stops.
We got Eric Shugart in the number 2 is actually 4 laps down there in 21st. He's actually on pit road as we speak. 22nd, Matthew Hedrick, 5 laps down, and then we had 2 retirees already tonight. Caleb Steimer being one of them in the 18, and then the 26 of Michael Light. So those 2 guys are out of the event already. We do have 20 cars still on the lead lap. The last one of them, just in front of our leader, the 00 of JJ Wang. Matthew Robinson kind of hunting him down, but that Infinite Gaming number 00 is looks like he might be the next one to lose a lap to our race leader.
We were talking about JJ Wang last week. He typically comes from a road course background on iRacing. Last week was his first ever oval race being at Daytona, and he ended up getting the top 5 out of it, so it was a nice job there from the 00.
There you see the 40, Matthew Robinson making the move down low on the 00 of JJ Wang. The 00 goes the lap down, and that leaves us now with 19 cars on the lead lap here. Lap number 36 out of 130. So we got, when he hits the stripe here, it's going to be lap 37. So that'll make it, what, 94 laps to go? You might have to check my math on that there, Hunter, but...
I would say 94, 93, somewhere around there. It's less than 100.
There we go. And we're under 100, so we're getting there. We're getting to the end of this thing. I want to give a shout out to everybody viewing us on Twitch and talking in the chat. And there we go. We got our first guy on pit road. I believe that's the 97 of Jacob York, if I'm not mistaken. He'll be the first one down the pit road.
That is the first one to come down on pit road.
Remember, these drivers get 3 tire sets in their pits once the race starts. And, York's just overshot his pit box. Just barely had to back up a little bit before they could start their tire change on that machine. But these guys get 3 sets of tires in the pits, so they'll have the opportunity to come down and get those fresh sets of tires throughout the race. And you kind of want to space it out. So with a 130 lap race, you've come in here on lap 40, then maybe, or I actually kind of like Jacob York's strategy now that I'm talking through it. Come in on 37, and then maybe around lap 74, and then again a lap round 111, I think, if my math's right. Try to even it out, basically. And you want to spread out your stops. You don't want to have to pit, with 5 laps left in the race or so.
Yeah, we saw that last week in the Cup Series, instead of Speed Shop Cup Series. It came down to fuel strategy. And, well, we thought it was going to come down to fuel strategy, but almost worked out for the 2 drivers that stayed out.
I don't know if we can get a shot of it or not, but the 97 of Jacob York just came off the pit lane, and I think he was really, really loose on the pit exit there. There you see
there
it.
he is!
Oh, man, it looked like...
Saving it. Oh, man. Whatever adjustment he made, it just loosened it up.
And he's got to come back down. I was going to mention, you saw the right rear tire jump over that white line before he got to the blue cone. That is a penalty issued by iRacing, so the 97's got to come back down now and do a stop and go. Oh, man, tough break there for Jacob York. But that kind of speaks how loose these cars get on those cold tires.
Especially on the transition coming up from the apron through the banking. There you see, look at the gap between Robinson and Corker.
Yeah, and it's growing. We saw Corker on, clipping off some lap time, but now that lead has grown once again, up to now almost 5 seconds over the 22 car in second place now.
There you see identical cars, just different colors on it. Christensen being the black car, and then right behind him is the white car.
Kind of wanted to touch on, we see Drew Trader, one of the guys over at One Mind to Design Motorsports, talking about the 69 machine of Gary Lewis. Gary started 21st tonight in the 69 car, and he's already up to 13th, so he's actually cut through about 8 drivers already through our field, and making that debut, of course, for One Mind to Design Motorsports, starting towards the back, but making his way up. His teammate Eli Green, his teammate Ford Smith running 5th, but the 69 machine is making it work right now. He's up to 13th. A caution or maybe some good pit strategy, get him right up into inside that top 10. So a good looking machine there by One Mind to Design. We'll have to keep tabs on him throughout the race.
I'm gonna say that fits your Miami Vice.
Yeah, I like it. There we go. So lap 42 now. We've only seen one taker on pit road, and it was the 97 of Jacob York, who also had a drive-through penalty. Actually, I believe the 21 of Dominic DeLeo. I believe he actually also came down pit road trying to get, yes, he did. He came down 1 lap ago. So
yeah, he's currently 2 laps down on this track right now. Now, unlike Daytona, where you can pit and stay on the lead lap, for tracks like Homestead, 1.5 miles, depends on where you pit. If you pit from the middle of the pack back, you're typically going to be a lap down, maybe 2. And if you're running up front, you'll just be about a lap down, but only for a brief moment.
But with that, though, you already see the 21 on pit road. You see him right behind the leader of Matthew Robinson. Watch the difference in speeds, especially through these corners on old tires of Robinson, who's got 44-lap old tires, and the 21 of Dominic DeLeo, he's got 2-lap old tires. I mean, he's going to have a big speed difference once they get down through turns 3 and 4. We already kind of saw it there through turn 1 and 2. And he's going to get down from 2 laps down. He'll be going back to 1 lap down once he gets around our leader here, the 40 of Matthew Robinson. And there you see the closing rate.
Yeah, the closing rate is insane, and that's just through the corner.
He's working there off of turn 4. Coming into turn 1, I'll probably get in this corner if I had to assume. Robinson's going to go high, and down low goes the 21.
Yep, he's in the Ben & Jerry's number 21. Piscataway, New Jersey native. He's going to pass the 40 of Robinson. Now that'll put him only 1 lap down. And once all these stops cycle through, he should be back on the lead lap. Looks like we have another driver on pit road. The 12 of Brandon Hedrick and the 66 of Bobby Tinch have made their way on the pit road.
I actually want to correct you, but really I'm correcting myself here. It's actually Brendan Hedrick. I just remembered that I was the one pronouncing his name wrong last week. So it's Brendan Hedrick, not Hedrick. Want to get these guys' names right. And that's on me. I was the one. And actually, look at that. The 40 Matthew Robinson is on pit road right now as well. See him in the background of the shot in the white and orange machine. He's going to stop in his box. So you got the 12 of Brandon Hedrick leaving pit road. Also, another one of those guys leaving pit road as the 40 Matthew Robinson's coming into his box is the Northern Capital machine of Bobby Tinch.
Yeah, Bobby Tinch also making his way down pit road. Nick Halda looks like he's on pit road also, along with Nolan Neiman.
Did I miss the close-up of the pace truck driver?
Yeah, it was focused on the 40. You just saw him. He got closer to the box. Here
comes Rick Christensen now, the 19 who cycled to the lead. He is now coming in for his first pit stop, and that's going to hand the lead over to the 84 of Forrest Smith, and he'll get the lap lead. Remember, once you lead a lap, that's a bonus point in the championship standing. So a lap led equals a bonus point. The most laps led also equals another bonus point. Right now, Matthew Robinson with a good amount of laps led looks like he'll be the one to receive that extra point, but Forrest Smith in the 84 jumping up to the first spot. He's going to get a bonus point for 1 lap led. We'll expect to see him on pit road next.
It looks like you can call him First Smith, as he's currently first. As soon as they say that, he goes on the pit road.
That was a tough one.
That's going to bring the lead to number 57, Jordan Berry.
And Jordan's done a great job tonight, too. We saw him earlier kind of mixing it up a little bit with a few guys that he was battling with, but he's settled in and he's put together a solid run so far in that 57. He will also be racing in the Lodge Box Series on Wednesday, so that's a name we'll have to get familiar with. But Jordan Berry, 57, great-looking paint scheme. He's put on a quite the drive tonight. You see the 69 of Gary Lewis, another one of those drivers now on pit road. So we only got 3 drivers who have yet to pit. It's the 57 of Jordan Berry, the 33 of Brian Dixon, and then the 3 of Kevin Hayes. And all 3 of those guys are coming in this time.
I'm looking through. JJ Wang is yet to pit also.
Oh, there we go. One more. So he's playing the long strategy because we did see him get lapped on that green flag run. So he's hoping a caution comes out to try to buy some track position back and be back on the lead lap. So there he is now in that number 00. So he's 13th at the moment on the lead lap, but he does need to come down pit road. And he's coming down this time. Heard him call it out over the radio, so I got a little bit of an advantage on my colleague Hunter here. I'm in the actual sim and can hear the radio chatter, so a little bit of a heads up for me. But the 00, JJ Wang coming down pit road as we speak.
Coming in almost a little bit too hot, just making it in.
Ooh, yeah, he had to lock her down there getting on the pit road. So that cycles the lead back up front to the 40 of Matthew Robinson, and bad news for the field, that lead has actually grown quite a bit.
Yeah, but it's in good hands with Rick Christensen, who's run lap times similar or faster than the leader as the runs have gone on.
Well, wasn't Rick Christensen one of the earlier guys on pit road, right? Or did he pit after Matthew Robinson?
He pitted a lap after. One of the earlier guys on pit road was, I'll look back on it, Trevor Williams and Eli Green were 2 and 3 laps ahead. The earliest was Dominic DeLeo. Actually, no, it was Jacob York, but he had his issues. So, yes, technically you could say Dominic DeLeo. So he's now back on the lead lap. Currently running in 14.
I think the number 12 of Brandon Hedrick had a big moment off of turn 4 coming in from the admin tower. Brad Slaughter is actually in the Twitch chat. He said that car got some major damage off of turn 4, so something happened there with the number 12, so he's back on pit road now, so that's going to be a tough break for him. Not sure how many laps back that happened, so it might not be able to catch it. I'll see if I can go back and look real quick.
He's just coming off pit road now.
Yeah, I actually went back and looked real quick. I got a little bit of an advantage over our producer, but just came off turn 4, got sideways real loose on the fresh tires and knocked it into the inside wall, so he had to come back down pit road and get that car repaired a little bit. So tough break there for the 12 of Brandon Hedrick. Thankfully, though, he had a good run at Daytona last week, so he kind of has those points to wean back off of in case of in case of something like that happening. But Brandon Hedrick, trying to look through and see exactly where he did finish last week. Oh, I guess I'm a little bit mistaken. He actually ended up with a 16th place finish last week, so I thought he was up there in the top 5. My fault.
I think Harold's got a replay of the incident that's happened.
This looks like maybe another replay. See the 98 of Jake Fleming. I think it was way back on the 12 there, so it might be a struggle to get back to it.
Jake said he was loose off of 4 and then smacked the inside wall.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit too far back to get to. Here we go. We're going to get to it, it looks like. So we're seeing the 12 of Brandon Hedrick. He had just came off the pit road only a lap beforehand. And this, I think, actually is his lap where he pitted on, so this is not going to be the incident either here.
Look at how it didn't bring out the yellow. Well, we tried to.
I mean, he didn't really get backwards like that or nothing. He just kind of smacked it off the inside wall. He never really broke that 90-degree plane. Car kind of stayed straight on him for the most part. So.
There he is coming off of the pit lane. And while we were leaders still, the 40th Matthew Robinson, followed by Rick Christensen, the 19, Eli Green, 3rd, Trevor Williams, 4th, and rounding out the top 5 is Sean Corker.
Right now, a lot of these guys are kind of hoping for a yellow, just to slow down the 40 and Matthew Robinson, honestly. I mean, he's put on quite a performance so far. He's got a 5-second gap already over the 19 of Rick Christensen. To credit Rick, though, he is one of those few guys who is, he started 15th on the night, had to really pick his way through the field. Now that he's up to 2nd, we'll have to see if he's able to run him down. But Eli Green with another good run there in the 28 machine. We see the 40 right on board here with him. He's catching actually lap traffic of the 34, Rick Ward. Looks like he's going to go around him here on the bottom.
Yeah, Rick Ward going to go a lap down. So that will put 16 drivers on the lead lap.
Yeah, and actually the last driver on the lead lap, the 21, Dominic DeLeo. How about it? Unfortunately for him, though, that 40 Matthew Robinson is coming in a hurry. So I think it'll only be a handful of laps until Dom's the first car 1 lap down now. He's working there off of turn 2.
I was going to say, remember earlier on when we showed how fast the 21 was on new tires compared to the leader? Well, now it's going to be a reversal role. Whereas the 21 is now being chased by the leader, who has fresher tires.
He's doing a good job, though. I got to give Dominic a shout out. I know he's newer to league racing and iRacing, and he's kept that car clean. And I mean, he did a green flag pit stop. Those aren't always easy,
No. Especially after last week, we saw some drivers overshot their pit box, speed on pit road, make a little bit of contact on pit road even.
I mean, we saw a handful of incidents even tonight. Drivers leaving pit road on those cold tires. We saw the black flag for the 97 of Jacob York. We saw the problems with the 12 of Brandon Hedrick. So it's not, it's not easy. It really isn't. I know we kind of, make fun at it, but green flag pit stops on old tires, on a slick track, slick night like tonight, it really does take a lot of talent to get that thing on and off pit road quickly. Hunter up front. I don't know if it's because of the lap traffic, but Rick Christensen again cutting into that lead of Matthew Robinson.
Yeah, he slowly closed in. He was 0.3 quicker that last time by than their leader, Matthew Robinson.
Again, look at the lap traffic, though, in front of the 40 right now. We already saw him get by the 21. He's got the 00 JJ Wang in front of him again, and then there's another 2 cars in front of him. So a lot of lap traffic for him to deal with, and Christensen kind of slowly cutting into that lead, but 4.5 seconds, that's a big gap for him to have to work through.
Going to be completing lap 60 this time by, almost halfway through our 130 lap main event here at Homestead for the Swift Lifestyle Pro Series in Araya.
Look at that, 2 wide in front of him. It's actually the 97 of Jacob York. He's going to go on the high side of the racetrack. Robinson's going to be working the bottom here. York, that we saw the black flag he had to serve, just crossed over that white line, leaving turn 2 after pit exit. He's going to go a lap down now in the 97. I will actually make that 4 laps down, I believe, for the 97. So that black flag really hurt the 97 of Jacob York tonight.
I only see 3.
Maybe 3. I told you I'm not good with numbers early, right?
Well, here's some numbers for you. Matthew Robinson's led 56 of 61 laps that we've completed.
Wow. So he's almost already clinched that most laps led.
Yeah, he's got to lead about 9 more laps in order to clinch. As we saw last week, trying to remember who the 2 drivers were, but we had a tie with who led the most laps in the ARCA race at Daytona. Both led 35 laps. And
no, that was
Xfinity. Yes, that was Cameron Hearn. He was one of them.
Last week it was Matthew Robinson who led the most laps at Daytona, believe it or not. I know it's crazy to imagine, but he led 26 laps at Daytona last week. He got the extra point for leading the most, and looks like he's going to get that extra point once again tonight. So strong start already for Matthew Robinson.
I would have to say that he has clinched it because the other drivers that are out there that have the 1 lap each.
Right, yeah. So it looks like Robinson, another bonus point added to his current standings, and already off to an impressive start of the season with a solid run last week at Daytona. Nicholas Halda, though, the 87 car, we talked about him a little bit earlier on in the race. He's running 7th right now. He was the one who went to victory lane last week at Daytona, running with JW Racing, so he's actually teammates with the 40. They are not officially registered as a team here in area, but they are, they work together throughout the week. I saw them in a practice session earlier on. So a lot of these people, wonder, how does, somebody get a lot faster on iRacing? How does that whole process happen? I can speak from what I've seen with my own eyes. That 40 and that 87, they were practicing for, the better part of 2-3 hours earlier today before this race, just trying to tune themselves up for the event. I think you can see the dividends paying off already.
Indeed, we are seeing that. Now, we should also take a look at our mid-race rundown as we're about to cross the halfway point. The mid-race rundown presented by Swift Lifestyles. Fans, be sure to visit our sponsor, Swift Lifestyles, for clean supplements that help improve your focus and gaming. Use discount code AREA iRacing, AREA iRacing, for 15% off your entire order. We'd like to give a big shout out and thank you to Swift Lifestyles for their support of the Swift Lifestyle Pro Series. Now, Matthew Robinson, there's not really much to say. He's led over 60 laps. He's led all but 5 laps, and he's basically been the car to beat. Although the driver behind him, if we ever do get a yellow, could give him a run for his money. That's the 19 of Rick Christensen. Almost botched that.
And then you got 3rd place Eli Green, or I'm sorry, it's actually Trevor Williams. They just swapped the positions on me there. Trevor Williams in the number 1. He's had a solid night in the keeping that thing clean in that Bass Pro Shop Chevy. But 4th spot, the 28 of Eli Green. We saw him super aggressive last week at Daytona. Once again here tonight. Not been super aggressive, but been able to keep the nose clean on that thing. We've seen him have a handful a few times, but been able to corral it.
And right behind him is the 5th place driver, Sean Corker, and then the 22. He started on the front rows, faded back a little bit, but he's held his spot in that Northern Capital number 22, holding his line in 5th. And right behind him is James Shanewolf. Now, James Shanewolf, it's his first night here in the Swift Lifestyle Pro Series, and he was running in the top 5 for a brief moment. He's faded just a little bit outside in the 6th. So far, had a clean night.
And you see Nick Halda, just talked about him a little bit ago, the winner last week at Daytona, but having a solid night again tonight. Inside the top 10, that's what you're going to need to get into the playoffs here. But of course, with that race win last week, he's already locked himself into the playoffs as long as he stays in the top 20 in points, which looking like tonight won't be an issue for the 87 team. And then right behind him, the 84 of Forrest Smith. A new team, One Mind to Design Motorsports, and he's been leading the way so far tonight for them. He's up inside the top 5 earlier on in the night. Right now, he finds himself running 8th.
Finding himself 9th is that 98 of Jake Blumen. Not a whole lot to say about him. He's been in a couple of questionable situations with drivers around him going 2 and 3 wide, but so far he has yet to wreck the car, and that's always a good thing for the driver. Now, in the 10th spot is Jordan Berry, one of 6 new drivers, making their debut tonight in that bright pink number 57. Gotta say it's a pretty dope paint scheme. He's led 2 laps, but that was under the green flag cycle of pit stops.
And then you see Bobby Tinch there in the 66 running from Northern Capital. We'll go ahead and wrap up the rundown with him. He's had a solid night though in the 66 so far, keeping it clean. Got a great looking machine prepared by Samson Motorsports. And that car is looking sharp so far, but wanted to touch on the battle we're seeing for 3rd right now. They've been swapping positions, make that 4th actually, back and forth. The 22 is Sean Corker on, the 28 of Eli Green, and the 1 of Trevor Williams. 3rd through 5th kind of thrown under a blanket right now. Those guys were going hard after one another for that spot. Give it right now to Trevor Williams with Sean Corker on taking over 4th.
So there you see the driver in front of him. Trevor Williams running the middle, and the 2 drivers behind him, Corker running green, running the bottom.
And then,
just another testament as to the different lines of racing that we see here at Homestead.
and what's funny, that's 3rd through 5th, and then if you look at 6th through 8th, it's the same thing. It's another group of 3 cars under a blanket, but it's James Shanewolf there, it's the 84 of Forrest Smith, and then the 87 of Nick Halda. So those guys have been battling out as well. Up front, though, Matthew Robinson showing the way. Rick Christensen about 4.5 seconds back, and then 2 3-car packs to round out our top 8.
Yep, one of them in the back being Shane Wolf and Smith. They're side by side now with the lap car in front of them. 3 wide for a brief moment. Give the spot to Smith, though. Move him up to 6th.
I'm about to say, we were just talking about Forrest Smith running 8th in our rundown. He's already jumped 2 spots higher. He's up to 6th now. He's got around the James Shanewolf machine as well as the 87 of Nick Halda. So that 84, he's looking fast. I'm assuming he came to pit road later than those 2, and he's got fresher tires, and that kind of explains the difference of why he's been a little bit quicker the last few laps.
Yeah, Forrest Smith, 23 laps on this run so far, and then kind of one up with Shane Wolf, 25, and now Halda, 26. So 1 lap difference for each of the guys, as it looks like Halda was going to go down low.
Yeah, kind of tucked back in line behind him, but see the leader, Matthew Robinson, kind of stinking up the show a little bit tonight, Hunter.
Well, that's just the result you get when Matthew Robinson, as quick as he is, and he's clinched the most laps led.
There you go. And like I said, I mean, he did prepare a lot for tonight. You know, him and his teammate Nick Halda to put up that practice session. So we kind of should have expected to see something like this. But I don't know if these guys thought he'd be this much quicker than the rest of the field. But the battle for 3rd, you see there, Trevor Williams in the 1 and Sean Corcoran in the 22. Sean, I mentioned it a little bit earlier, man. He does a really good job just keeping that race car clean. And I got to give him another shout out because seems like he's getting quicker and quicker as the night goes on. He was 5th earlier, then he moved up to 4th, ran there for a little bit, and now he's up inside the top 3 in that 22 machine.
Currently holding this line right now, and just like everyone else on the racetrack, we're 74 laps in our 130 lap main event. We're going to take another quick commercial break, but you won't miss a thing. We'll be right back. Right, looks like we will not go to commercial.
Yeah, I'm about to say. Got the cool down going on still here, so we still got Robinson up front, Rick Christensen in 2nd. I feel like a broken record just going through the rundown again, but actually, Hunter, now that I mention it, a lot of these guys are probably closing in on their 2nd pit stop. We saw the first one happen right around lap 40. We're working lap 75, so these guys are going to be coming in for their 2nd round of green flag pit stops. Kind of amazing, really, when you think about it, that these guys are, you know, 2nd week in, and we've had I think this will be our third or fourth green flag pit stop of the season. We had 2, I think, at Daytona in the ARCA series, and now it's going to be 2 here tonight. Potentially, I guess. Still got a few more laps away from it, but it's looking good so far, man. These guys are putting on an awesome show, and they're doing a heck of a job, you know, preparing each week, asking the right questions, working together. Everybody's giving each other room and racing clean. You know, nothing you can't be proud over to be a part of this league, and this whole series is it's going to grow a lot, I think, as the season goes on.
Indeed, and the racing will only get better and better. Now, if that's a true lap time from Rick Christensen, 20 seconds. Now it's 14. He's getting quicker by the minute.
There we go. Now it's settled out, it looked like there. It jumped up to 34.9, so he's just a 10th off. But Robinson, Skippers, Virginia, running really strong in that track racer number 40 for his sponsors right now. I think we might have some pit stops going on. I'm trying to look through the field. Saw the 22 of Sean Corker on jump on the radio, and he's running third right now. I think he might be the one who's going to bring it down pit road first right now from the third spot. Have to see if he decides to bring it down pit road. No, looks like he's staying out. So maybe I heard wrong.
And it looks like the 97 of Jacob York has parked it for the night. He's mentioned that this is through chatter, by the way, he has not had a good night so far. Kind of just gotten worse as the night's gone on, which will bring us to a total of, I believe that's 4 DNFs on the night. Eric Shugart, Michael Eip, and Caleb Steimer still have 20 cars running at the moment, 13 of which on the lead lap. Last driver in the lead lap is the 33 of Brian Dixon.
There you see Dom. He's had the most active fan base we've seen in a while here in this Target series, so gotta give him a shout out though, running 16th. He is 1 lap down. Right now he's a few spots out of the free pass position. The 33 of Brian Dixon actually currently has the free pass, and he's running 13th. He was one of the last guys we saw on pit road, along with the 3 of Kevin Hayes, who's running 14th, so.
The reason I pulled him up here on the stream is that Dom has kept working on lap 39 on this stint. Across it here will be 40 laps, so we'll see maybe a fuel extension from the 21.
Yep, he's had a clean night too. He's one of the 6 newer drivers that are making their debut tonight. This is league debut for iRacing, the Piscataway, New Jersey native.
He's looking good. He's looking good. Gotta give him credit.
Absolutely. We're 81 down, so we're within that window of 50 laps to go here tonight at Homestead.
Right, and I think a lot of these guys are gonna try to stretch it. You know, with that being said, with 81 to go, with lap 81 coming to 50 to go, you gotta wonder, once they get within 50 to go and then almost 45 to go, did the 3 and the 33, Brian Dixon and Kevin Hayes, who really stretched it out, will they be able to make it on one more stop, Hunter? I know it's going to be close. We see the 21 there. He's coming down low. He will be pitting this time around. And potentially that's why he's losing so much time there. He does not have to take that access road there on the bottom side of the racetrack. That's adding a lot of time to his pit stops. So,
but just a note on that. Just a note on the access road. Until I believe 2 seasons ago, iRacing was requiring drivers to go down the access road under green flag conditions. So yeah, that has changed.
Not a rule though, so doesn't need to do that. Obviously, it's adding a ton of time to his green flag pit stop, so that is not helping him at all.
But it could be worse. You could come off a pit road and accidentally run the road course.
True. We've seen that. So true.
Boy, after the first caution that came out early on, it's been a quiet night so far. Had a little bit of battling here and there, some contact with, I believe, where is it? 12 of Brandon Hedrick.
Hedrick, there you
go. Almost saying Hendrick there.
I feel like I shouldn't be the one correcting you because I butchered it every time last week, but here I am.
Looking through the chat, I believe we had a fan of 21 of DeLeo comment saying, "Let's go, maturity level off the charts, veteran mindset." And he's sneaky athletic also.
There we go. So, Gotta keep it interesting somehow. It's been, it's funny because that first caution came out lap 1, Hunter, and I was like, oh no, here we go. I thought it was going to be one of those nights where it's just caution after caution, and we've been green since then. So maybe sometimes you gotta let these guys just race it out and see what happens. I think we're still a long way from over there. I know we got less than 50 laps to go, but it is not said and done in the least. I think a lot can happen between now. You gotta remember, pit penalties, pit strategy, all that stuff. I mean, that's a huge game-changing opportunity every time you come down pit road. A lot can happen, a lot can change between now and the end of this one.
When we have a car on pit road right now, the one of Trevor Williams has made his pit stop. Now this could be the final pit stop you need to make it on fuel.
Well, we'll have to see, right? Because right now they're working 46 to go. I mean, I don't know.
Caution could come out at any moment.
Well, you have the numbers in front of you. How long, are these guys going on their fuel runs? Are they pushing 40 laps or?
I didn't quite get a look at Trevor Williams, but the most that I'm seeing right now amongst the drivers on the lead lap, 41, both from Eli Green and from Jake Fleming.
Okay, so we'll have to
track though.
So we'll have to keep an eye then on Eli Green and the 98 of Jake Blumen to see how long they can go. Because if they're pushing 41 laps right now, and we got 45 to go. If they make it 2 or 3 more laps, that'll be 43 to go, and they'll have 43 laps of fuel in their tank that we've seen them make. So
I want to say I do recall JJ Wang going past 45 laps. It looked like he was at around lap 48 before he made his 48 on his fuel run before he made a pit stop.
So there we go. I had assumed it was going to be a 3 pit stop race, but that is not the case then. These guys can make it on 1 more stop from here to the end. That explains why we see these guys stretching it out. I was mentioning earlier.
I was going to say JJ Wang pitted on lap 52.
Wow. But again, he could have pitted that first caution we had, so knock 5 laps off of that.
JJ Wang, he's only had 1 caution, but he was off pace for a good part of that original stint. So I wouldn't use him as that, but we could definitely go past the remaining laps with the full tank of fuel.
Well, here we go. I think the 28 might be coming in this time of Eli Green, and he's one of those drivers we were just talking about who's went the longest. So here he is, Hunter. How many laps did he make it?
42. It's on the same pit stop as Bobby Tinch. They both been on the same lap. Tinch is yet to pit, though. Eli Green and Nick Halda are both on pit road right now.
And that's with 42 laps under their belt, so maybe 43 they could push it to with 43 laps to go. These drivers might be on their last pit stop here, especially with the likes.
Jake Fleming's on 45 right now.
There we go. And I mean, Robinson was one of the later guys to pit, and he's going to have more fuel in his tank than those cars, so he should be able to easily make it here on 1 more stop. So who would have thought?
So we're looking through our chat there. Jacob York, speeding will ruin your night, and in all caps, watch your speed. So we are on the last set of pit stops here, and you do have to watch your speed because the speed penalty could ruin, say, Matthew Robinson's night. Although it seems like he has a perfect night every night, he could speed on pit road.
Yeah. Well, like I said, every time you're coming on or off pit road, it's an opportunity for something to change, right? Your night can be completely flipped upside down by just 1 little mistake, and that can be as simple as, not getting on the brakes hard enough or even getting on the brakes too hard. It's a lot easier to make a mistake than it isn't. So with the 40 of Matthew Robinson showing the way still, see the 34 there dropping down on the pit road. That's Rick Ward. You're seeing the 3 of Kevin Hayes, one of those guys who's went the longest on a fuel run, and now the 57 is in. That's the Jordan Berry machine.
Jordan Berry, Gary Lewis.
The 40 is in.
Yep, Matthew Robinson on pit road. It'll be interesting to see when the 19 comes on the pit road, because that's really the only other competition for the 40 if we stay green.
Right, and we'll have to see the pit exit here on these guys too, because we saw how easy it is to just kind of slip up over that white line on the exit of pit road and get a penalty for that, penalty for speeding. There's a lot of different things that can happen. The 22, Sean Corker on, he is in right behind Matthew Robinson. Now Robinson's leaving his box. Here comes the 19. Rick Christensen is in.
Yep, Christensen went 44 laps there on his run.
I'm watching the 40 right now. Matthew Robinson, real easy off the pit road, right? He didn't have to push it at all. There was no need for him to try to get as much time as he could on the pit exit because he's got such a big lead. So he just kept it smooth and was really steady on the gas. Easy exit for pit road from him. We'll have to see how the 19 of Rick Christensen, who's in his box. Now he's actually leaving his box as Robinson's exiting turn 4. These two are going to be meeting probably right at the pit lane exit here where the wall ends. Robinson goes by and Christensen hits the cone. You see him there for a second on the back side of your screen, but Christensen now is leaving his pit stall and leaving the pit exit lane, which is a complicated one here at Homestead. And we'll see him probably pop up. Right there he is, coming out of turn 2. That's our second place car when it all cycles through.
I was shook for about a second because their scoring just it froze on me, but it showed Robinson with a 3-second pit stop, making me wonder if he did splash and go. But I just refreshed it, and he's fine. It just had me shook for a moment. Like, no way did he come in and not take tires.
Well, that would have been something. But not. 4 tires and fuel. Again, with this 2-stop race, a lot of these guys have an extra set of tires still in the pits. If we do end up with that late race caution, these guys will be able to come down and get fresh tires. So that'll be an interesting.
Down and getting fresh tires. James Shamwolf is coming down and getting fresh tires. And it looked like Robinson. I think Robinson's increased the gap from him, Christensen, by about almost 6. It was 6 seconds earlier.
And it's steadied out. Christensen, though, coming in a lap later, you know, that'll help him a little bit. I don't know if it'll help him make up 6 seconds of time, but the fresher tires by a lap will make a little bit of a difference. But we'll have to see if he's able to close down the 40 of Matthew Robinson's. Awesome night for him, man. It's truly been a pretty strong showing for that 40 team, and he's done a great job. But still, coming through turn 4 here, they're going to get lap number 95, so 36 laps to go, I think. My math's right on that one. I'm pretty confident.
Gonna be 30 right now. It's showing it's gonna be 36.
There we go.
So 35 when they come across the stripe this time by.
So Robinson has had the car to beat all night long, pretty much. It's not really been close. I think the closest, as Hunter mentioned, is the 19 of Rick Christensen, but he had to come from the back, right? He had to start 15th on the night, make his way through all the traffic, and that's honestly been the difference so far. Oh, we got a car sideways into the outside wall. That's James Shamwolf.
James Shamwolf has put it in the wall in turn 4, and the caution has come back out. Our first yellow since the lap 1 incident, so we've gone 94 laps without a caution, and that was just erased by James Shamwolf. Insane. This changes everything, Jake.
Yeah, it does. And here you see it coming through turn 3 and 4. He was fighting the handle in there on exit. I thought he saved it. He kind of corralled it, and then it just broke loose again, overcorrected into the outside wall. For James Shamwolf, that's a tough break for Matthew Robinson. I mean, that changed a lot.
Looks like Gary Lewis is going to be the free pass here.
Yeah, that's a great break for that number 69 car of Gary Lewis now. He'll get the free pass, put him back on the lead lap. I think we'll see a lot of wave around cars as well here. We'll have to see once they get caught up to the pace car and who comes down pit road and such. But
I will give the free pass to Gary Lewis regardless if he gets it or doesn't. The Kenosha, Wisconsin native.
That's quite the picture. He's got the hair going on, bandana.
Love to see it. What a guy. This also helps out, and you mentioned wave around. Brian Dixon, he's only made it a lap, so he must have just come out of pit road as that yellow was coming out. Currently 12th on the track, but as Jake mentioned, we should see some guys getting the wave around here.
We'll have to see, right? When these guys, the leaders that being Matthew Robinson and Rick Christensen, if they decide to come back down again and pit, then that'll open up a lot of wave around potentials. But the thing is, these guys only had a few laps on their tires, Hunter. They might not be coming down pit road, especially with still 33 to go. I think it's too early to take your last set of tires. And knowing you're good on fuel,
although we've gone over 90 laps without a yellow. Who knows? This could be the last yellow of the night. You never know.
That's what I'm saying. You don't have to pit for fuel. It's really, you just got fresh tires a handful of laps ago. Not really a huge need to come down and pit at the moment. So we might not see these leaders come down, which would leave, you know, a lot of these guys on a lap down. So with 10 cars on the lead lap, you were right. Gary Lewis in the 69 did get the lucky dog there. I don't think it's called a lucky dog anymore, technically. I think it's the free pass.
I still call it lucky dog from my younger days of watching, with Aaron sponsoring the free pass car. It's always rolled off the tongue better than free pass or first car or lap down or whatever. Lucky dog just rolls off the tongue. Speaking of going over 90 laps without a caution, Matthew Robinson's just led his 90th lap of the night, 10 off from hitting 100. Could he do it,
triple
Jake?
digits. I would say, yeah, I'd say he's able to do it. Robinson up front, though, he's going to get, well, we still got 2 to green. Wow, so we actually had a little bit of time here. So it's going to be a minute before we are doubling them up. But these guys did not come down pit road. We saw some lap cars pit, and not any wave rounds being given, so we'll only have 10 on the lead lap, Hunter. That's going to be, it's going to narrow it down real quick.
We'd like to welcome those back from our brief commercial break. Here's our race recap presented by McConey's Setup Shop. Matthew Robinson's led 90 laps tonight. We've only had our second caution of the night, one on lap 1, and then one being the most recent on lap number 94. 24 drivers made the race. There are currently 10 on the lead lap, and Matthew Robinson with the fastest lap, 33.616. So it looks like they're going to get the one to get this time by. And from the first yellow, we saw Robinson take the outside lane. The lights go off on the pace truck, and he's going to keep that outside lane. So that's going to put the 19 of Rick Christensen on the bottom. Coverage of the Araya Swift Lifestyle Pro Series is brought to you by Northern Capital. We would like to give a big thanks to Russ and Steve Anderson of Northern Capital for their support of the Northern Capital Truck Series and all of us here at Araya. And it looks like they have a couple of their cars here tonight. One of those being, I'm trying to, it's a little blurry on my end. It looks like
28 there.
Well, it looked like the 22 of Sean Corker.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were doing, yes. Northern Capital has got the 22 with Sean Corker on. My fault there. And you're going to see him restart 4th here on the restart. Matthew Robinson and Rick Christensen on the front row. Eli Green and Sean Corker on making up row number 2 there. And then how about Forrest Smith and Nick Halda going to restart in row 3, 5th, and 6th. 10 cars on the lead lap. We had our second caution flag of the night come out here on lap number 96, so we'll have to see how it all shakes out here. When they get the green flag, it's going to be 31 laps to go.
Pace truck making the hard left turn. Robinson, the control car, gets the jump on the outside, and we're back green at Homestead.
We'll see if these guys can hang with them now, as it's going to be 3 wide for second, almost going into turn 1. Eli Green with an aggressive move in the 28 on the bottom of the racetrack.
That's what Matthew Robinson wants to see. Cars going side by side right behind him. You got Green on the bottom. You got Christensen on the top. You got one car all the way low below the apron. He's going to come back on the track. But right now, Robinson holding on to that first spot as they battle for second.
And Eli Green is going to be real close there to Rick Christensen. He's getting loose, but they're able to corral it. Now Christensen's loose off the corner.
Here comes that Northern Capital 22 of Sean Corker. He's going to keep it tucked in behind, right behind him. We got a battle for 5th between Forrest Smith and Trevor Williams. So right now, these guys 2nd through 4th are all tucked back in. You got Williams on the outside, and then you got Smith on the bottom here. The outside line prevails and gives the 5th spot to the 1.
Oh, big wiggle right in front of him. The 28 of Eli Green off of turn 2. He almost lost it. He gave up 2nd. Now he gave up 3rd to Sean Corker on. He's going to get moved back to 4th.
Close to the bumper of the 22 there. He's going to go on below him here. As they come off the front stretch, or come down the front stretch, the one got loose right behind him. Battle for 3rd now. You got Corker on the top, and you got Green on the bottom. Going through 1 and 2.
And this is great news for Christensen right now in 2nd. He got around the 22, he got around the 28. Now those two are going side by side behind him, and he's able to just focus on catching the leader of Matthew Robinson. He's over a half second behind him, but with the battles raging on, you know, he won't have to worry about a charge from the 28 or the 22 for a little bit there.
Big time there for the 1 of Trevor Williams. Looked like he was going to make it 3 wide underneath the 22. Oh, and loose is Green. Green is loose. Williams is loose also. Wow. Insane how we have not yet out of yellow with the amount of looseness we're seeing. Here comes Corker, I almost said Christensen. Corker trying to get underneath the bottom of Green. Not going to do it. Probably a little sigh of relief there from 28.
Yeah, I mean, these cars on these fresh tires that we're seeing, it's just a handful. These guys have been, you know, trying to hang on to it as the best they can. There's the 84, great shot riding on board with Nicholas Halda right now in the 87. As Forrest Smith makes the pass around him for the 6th spot. You know, up front, Rick Christensen now is sitting just under a second behind our race leader, Matthew Robinson. Is he saving tires? Is he going to try to make a charge later on in this run? Or is the 40 Matthew Robinson charge? You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot that goes into this battle for the lead. There you see, I mean, they are battling quite a bit outside of the top 3 right now.
I mean, who knows if we're going to get another yellow or not, so these guys got to go all out for it.
Yeah.
There's Halda getting passed there by the 98 of Jake Blumen.
I think the strategy comes into play.
Oh, wow. That 84 got loose. That was Forrest Smith, and right below him is the 98 of Jake Blumen. Saw a big dive there to the bottom from the 98 and from the 87 of Nicholas Halda.
You see the 1 of Trevor Williams now making a charge on the outside of Eli Green.
He's also
Loses the momentum on that car. Up front, though, Matthew Robinson now, the lead is down to 9/10 of a second by Rick Christensen as he's trying to track him down. But, you know, I was trying to talk about it a little bit earlier. Is he saving tires, or is he going to push it and try to charge up to the 40? So it could be a difference. We saw how quick the 19 was on a long run. And remember, Hunter, Robinson actually pitted 1 lap before Rick Christensen, I believe, on that green flag cycle. So that extra lap of tires, you know, maybe that pays off for the 19 when it gets all said and done down to the finish of this thing.
There are 3 drivers who have the freshest set of tires, that being Trevor Williams in the 1, Jake Blumen, and Jordan Berry. They've gone 9 laps since they last pitted.
And I think you see that, right? You see how much the 1 and the 98, they weren't really inside the top 5 earlier on. Now you see the 98 charging up to 6, and he's looking to race his way inside the top 5, and that's probably due to those newer and fresher tires than the guys he's racing around.
You saw the 1 going down low, looking for the 3rd spot on Eli Green. It looks like he's got it for the moment. Yep, he cleared him. So they're going down the back stretch. There's that battle in the back. But Rick Christensen still just under a second behind our leader, Matthew Robinson.
There you see the lap times. I mean, that's just about identical. Only 16 1/1000ths of a second different between Robinson and Christensen. Technically, Christensen was a little bit quicker, but I mean, not by much at all. We'll see when they hit the stripe this time around if it's a difference. I mean, these guys are just about matching lap times, really.
Robinson just a little bit faster than Christensen that last time by.
We'll have to see if he's able to reel him down. For the moment, things have kind of settled out behind them. Trevor Williams has moved into the 3rd spot with Eli Green running 4th and Sean Corker on now rounding out the top 5. So kind of familiar faces up front, just, you know, kind of trade around the spots after between 2nd and 5th. But it's been about the same top 5 for most of this night.
And here comes Corker on the bottom here. This is for 4th. Going down low, Eli Green on the top. He can hold his line as they go through turns 1 and 2. Green getting close, but Corker clears the spot. Might see a little bit of a crossover from Green. Now he's going to keep her tucked in as they go down the backstretch.
Not quite able to make that move work. He's going to have to settle back in line now in 5th, move Sean Corker on up to 4th. Here comes Jake Blumen right behind him in the number 98 car in the 6th spot with the freshest tires out of this front group that we've talked about, including the 1 of Trevor Williams on the same amount of laps as the 98 right now. So we'll have to see if the tires pay off. I mean, right now, Christensen and Robinson are pretty much matching lap times and not really gaining or losing any time amongst those front 2. We see that time Christensen a little bit quicker, and then we'll see Robinson probably a little bit quicker the next time around. So really not a lot of gains being made by the 2nd place car. One thing I do wonder, though, Hunter, if we did have a caution flag come out between now and the end of the race, does the field try to split strategy? Do we see people come in and get their last set of tires, or do we see people stay out on those older tires and try to defend? You know, that would really shake things up.
I think if you're towards the back, you're going to take a shot and stay out. If you're up front, I would assume you'd pit, because we've seen the difference between old tires and new tires. And I mean, drivers up front, they're going to want those new sets of tires and drive through the field pretty quick.
Well, I mean, we'll have to see how if it comes, if it doesn't, you know. I think right now, you know, it's kind of playing into the hands of the 40 and the 19 as, you know, as far as fuel strategy and pit strategy goes. One thing I do want to mention, the number 1, Trevor Williams, looks like he's kind of cutting into the front 2 right now. And we mentioned the fresher tires on that machine. I wonder if he's got a chance to actually reel them down. We take a look at the lap times here. Trevor Williams actually just about matched the same of Matthew Robinson that last time by, but he was quicker than the 19 of Rick Christensen. So we'll have to see if it changes this time around. The quickest car on the racetrack, actually, the 22 Sean Corker on with that lap time last time by. We'll have to see if it's different this time by. They cross the stripe now. And looks like the 40 Matthew Robinson again with the quickest lap time on the track outside of our leaders. So it's going to be tough, it looks like, to catch the 40.
Coverage of the Uriah Swift Lifestyle Pro Series is brought to you by Sim Speed Shop. I'd like to give a big thanks to Sim Speed Shop for their support of the Sim Speed Shop Cup Series this season in Uriah. Racers can visit their website at www.simspeedshop.com to find multiple items to complete their virtual racing steps such as button boxes, wheels, racing gear, and more. That's www.com. Nope, I just botched that really bad. www.simspeedshop.com. Wow.
There we go. We got it. Huge shout out though to Jason and everybody over at Sim Speed Shop presenting our Sim Speed Shop Cup Series. You guys will see that on Thursday night, so make sure you're following along to the Twitch channel and subscribing as well to watch these races ad-free and commercial-free. You get to catch every second of the racing live on this Twitch channel. So appreciate everybody checking out tonight's race, the Swift Lifestyles Pro Series. It's been quite the show, and right now it's Matthew Robinson. We've seen him up front most of the night. He's just been flexing muscle all night long.
He's continuing to flex that muscle. He's led over 100 laps tonight. I think he's led all but 5 here. We've run 115 laps, so I would assume that would put him at 110 laps led, and he could bring that up to 125 if this goes green to the end. So they're catching a lap car there. That's the 30 of Matthew Hedrick. Hedrick, sorry. He is 13 laps down. He lets him go. Down the front stretch this time by. You see the lap times, they're just about even, although the one of Trevor Williams was just a tad quicker than our leader there. And Sean Corker was just a tad quicker than him also.
I think, these guys are trying different things right now. You got some people trying to work the top side, some people trying to work the bottom side. Ultimately, though, it's going to come down to tire management, right? On the long 30-lap run we're going to have here to the finish, are you using the tire life early on? Are you using the tire life later on in the run? Right now, with Trevor Williams and Sean Corker on being the fastest car on the track, I would assume those guys are really trying to push it and catch the 40, give it their best shot they can now. I think later on in the run, though, and this is how we saw Matthew Robinson grow that lead, is by conserving that tire life and using the speed towards the back end of the run, and then laying down some quick laps while everybody else is running, on those worn-out racing tires.
So Sean Corker on pitted on the same lap as Matthew Robinson. And he's running lap times that are about a tenth or so quicker than the leader.
I think that, well, I think really what that shows you, we got a caution flag out. The 98 of Jake Fleming.
Jake Blumen was currently running in the 6th spot. He's dropped all the way down. The yellow is out.
That caught me off guard.
Then by One to Go Studios giving us a shot at what happened to the 98 of Jake Blumen. There he is going down the front stretch.
I think it might be coming around in the next lap here. I'm not really sure. It really caught me off guard. You see him racing there? The 98 is the car on the top side of the racetrack in all black. You see the 28 of Eli Green right in front of him.
We'll see it right here. So he's got a run down the back, looking to poke to the inside, and keeps it tucked outside.
There's a lap car of Matthew Hedrick. The 30 of Matthew Hedrick, the lap car in front of him, I think might have had something to do with it.
Tapped him to the back of the 30 and just spun him sideways, although kept him straight. Well, not really, as he went back
I think maybe the 30 here might have wrecked afterwards.
Yeah, but that contact spun on the track. That brought out our 3rd caution of the night. So that brings into question, do you come in and use your last set of tires?
This is going to get good. Yeah, this is going to be a big difference. I don't know if these guys are going to come in and use their tires or not. There we go.
Earlier, I think you'll see guys from the front come in and pit.
How about that?
Robinson,
the 40 is in.
Williams, Corker, and they're all coming in the pit. And we'll see some
Williams
guys
staying out.
No, Williams stayed out. Yeah, I thought I saw him come down pit road. He must have faked me out. Jake Flemin's also staying out. Also, that's
wow.
He got into the bumper of the 30. He might get an EOL for that yellow, or it could go to the 30.
Let's see. Yeah, that's a tough call. That's going to be on our admin, Brad Slaughter, tonight. The 30 of Matthew Hedrick, I mean, he held his line against the top side of the track. It's not like he made a last-second, dart to the bottom or the top. But I think that closing rate really caught both those drivers off guard, right? And that's kind of why the contact was made. Let's see what the call is. Don't want to assume anything at all. But for the moment, the number 1 of Trevor Williams stayed out, and the number 98 also stayed out right behind him. So those guys will be first and second. Matthew Robinson was the first car to come down pit road. He was our leader. He brought a lot of guys with him. I'm kind of a little disappointed there, Hunter. I think if I was one of those guys in the back half of the top 10, I think I probably would have tried to stay out too and just try to kind of offset, what the 40's been doing all night long. But we'll have to see how it pays out, or how it pays off, I guess, with 10 to go here.
For that last yellow, the lucky dog was the 66 of Bobby Tinch. So now that puts 11 drivers on the lead lap, with the next driver a lap down being Brian Dixon in the 12th spot. And we've seen all night, as more drivers make their pit stops, we've seen all night how drivers simply cannot react in time to the speed that Matthew Robinson takes off on the restart. And he's going to start third, so the control car is the one of Trevor Williams.
Right.
So we don't know what line he's going to take. Oh, go on, Jake.
I was going to say, we just got the update. The lap car is actually going to get the EOL for that crash. So the 98 of Jake Flumen's going to be in second. I think if you're the 1 of Trevor Williams as the leader on this restart, I think you choose the top and you make that slow car of Flumen with a little bit of damage start right in front of the 40.
Yeah, I would also agree with you on that. Take the outside. That's what Matthew Robinson's been doing all night. He's been taking the outside, and he's just, the launch that he's getting, it's just leaving the car on the bottom, just kind of, oh man, what do I do now, Because as soon as that truck is on the pit lane, you can go whenever you want. You don't have to go in the restart box or at the start-finish line. You can go as soon as that truck goes on the pit road.
Exactly. So, just got the call. I don't know. Can you hear me all right? I saw a little bit of a...
Yeah, you're good.
Okay, so I wanted to make sure. But yeah, no, I think I saw the call come in from Trevor Williams. I think you can kind of see it on your screen right now. He's going to choose the top, and that means the 98 of Jake Flumen, who was just in our last caution but did not come down pit road. So a little bit of damage on that front end of the 98 car. He's going to be on the bottom and restarting right in front of the 40 of Matthew Robinson. So adds a little bit of spice to these last 10 laps.
There you go. Get the 1 to go, and the leader, Trevor Williams, will start on the outside. That's going to put the 98 of Jake Flumen on the inside, which you just saw he was caught up in that last yellow there from the 30.
And here we go. I mean, so Hunter, you can check, but the tires on the 1 of Trevor Williams are going to be substantially older than those guys who just pitted.
Yeah, 23 laps older than Matthew Robinson and Rick Christensen.
So that's a substantial drop off in lap time. So he's not going to have a lot of time to try to squirt away with the lead from the 19 and the 40, but I mean, he is going to be the leader on the restart. Another thing to watch out for, because we have not seen this all night long, is tire spin, right? A lot of times when you restart on those older tires, it's really, really easy to get the tire spinning when you're trying to put the power down and end up losing control of your race car. How's it going to go here on this restart?
Well, there's only one way to find out, and this could be the last restart of the race, although we thought that the previous yellow would be the last yellow, so you never know for sure. The 1 of Trevor Williams going to restart on the outside. He's the control car. Car that was inside Jake Flumen was involved in that last yellow. We're well within 10 to go. So we're coming to the green here, 8 to go. Green flag back out at Homestead.
And a pretty good start, actually, by Trevor Williams, of course, up front, but also the 98 of Jake Flumen on the bottom side of the racetrack. Not nearly as slow as I thought that he would be. That 98 car still got a little bit of speed left in it, and he's chugging along right in front of the 40 of Matthew Robinson. So the battle is actually for third between the 40 of Matthew Robinson, the 19 of Rick Christensen, and the 28 of Eli Green, who's making it 3 wide for third right behind him going into turn 3.
3 wide for third. This could be for the win as Robinson poking his nose through the middle. Christensen up top, Green down on the bottom. He's not giving up. Although the leader, Williams, liking what he's seeing, we're still going here.
Now Robinson's going to try to tuck underneath the 98 of Jake Flumen. He's going to be able to make that pass pretty easily, but he's going to bring the 28 of Eli Green along with him. And now the 98's kind of hung up in front of the 22 and the 19.
And here we go, fresh tires versus old tires. You see the 1 go on the bottom. Robinson going to run just a little bit above. Williams going to slide up. Here comes Robinson down on the bottom with Green in hot pursuit from behind. You got side-by-side for 4th. But up front, battle for the lead. Robinson going to take it down on the bottom as they go into turn 1.
Yeah, and Eli Green now is going to have to try to make that same maneuver around the 1 of Trevor Williams. He does so on the bottom side of the track, and he clears him. So now Green is the one within striking distance of Matthew Robinson as they head down the back straightaway with 6 laps to go.
Interesting. I'm still in shock how they didn't wreck going 3 wide. That was quite a move there from Eli Green, and that just moved him into second. Christensen he's just now getting around the 1 of Trevor Williams.
We saw it at Daytona, right? Eli Green was the one who was making really aggressive moves throughout the pack, so if anybody was going to take it 3 wide for what ended up being the lead, you would figure it'd be somebody like Eli Green, and it was an awesome move, and unfortunately, it looks like Rick Christensen really got the worst end of it, but he still came out 3rd place.
And who knows, he could catch the 20 and it's still second away from him.
It's not all said and done up front either. I mean, Eli Green is hanging with the 40 as best as we've seen anybody so far tonight. He's really driving that race car hard there off turn 4, though.
Yeah, just got loose on the top. 4 to go now for Robinson, who's slowly stretching his lead out to half a second. That's quite the fire suit there from, I believe that's
Matthew Robinson.
No, that's Robinson.
No, I'm sorry. You're right. You got it. It's Eli Green there. Actually, as we were looking at that, Eli Green is now getting chased down by Rick Christensen like he called out there a few laps ago, Hunter. The 19's looking to take away second, and if these two get to battling, it's pretty much all said and done up front.
Don't count out Sean Corker, and he could steal second here. Robinson continuing to pull away. 3 laps to go. Battle for second continues as they head into 1.
Yeah, it's the 28 of Eli Green trying to fend off the 19 of Rick Christensen. He's going to throw it down on the bottom side of the racetrack, try to tuck it against the white line as much as he can, but Rick Christensen with a great run off of turn 2 is able to get the nose underneath him.
To go into turn 3, Christensen's going to clear the 28 of Eli Green, no question about it. Green looking like he'll get to the bumper, close to making contact, none quite yet. So Christensen has his eyes set on Robinson here with 2 to go. Is it too little, too late?
Christensen now, he's made the move, he's cleared him. He's in second. Robinson up front, though, almost a second advantage over the 19 car for Matthew Robinson, as the 28 of Eli Green's falling back to 3rd. The 22 of Sean Corkeron's falling back to 4th now, single file through much of the field as they enter turn 3 and 4. This time, when they hit the stripe for Matthew Robinson, he's had a dominant performance so far, but he'll be taking the white flag. 1 to go here, presented by 1 to Go Studios for Matthew Robinson in that number 40 car.
Robinson, this is really the hardest he's had to work all night, starting from 3rd and then driving his way back to 1st after being in the middle of a 3-wide situation there with Green and Christensen.
A little bit of a battle there up top for the 5th and final spot, but up front, it's all Matthew Robinson as he's put on a dominant performance for much of tonight's race. It hasn't really been a lot of drivers we've seen get within contact or even close with him. Coming off of turn 4 for the final time up front, it's going to be the 40 of Matthew Robinson winning tonight here at Homestead.
There you see the side-by-side battles there finishing off. Rick Christensen will get 2nd, Eli Green 3rd, Sean Corker on 4th, and Jordan Berry holding off that top 5 spot from 6th place driver Forrest Smith. Absolutely dominating performance from Matthew Robinson. This will no doubt put him into the points lead, as heading into this was Nick Halda, who finishes 9th, and then 2nd in the points was, I believe that was Eric Shugar. Yeah, Eric Shugar was 2nd in points, and that's gonna cost him big time, getting involved in that lap 1 incident. But Matthew Robinson coming home with the win. Might see some burnouts here on the front stretch. Or a wreck. He just tapped the wall.
He tapped it.
And that's how you pass post-race inspection.
Yeah.
I believe that was the most action the flagman saw all night. Actually, no, there was a wreck on lap 1 on the front stretch, so never mind. Scratch that statement.
Well, he's burning it down. Got a follow there from VHawk08. Appreciate that. But Robinson, our race winner here tonight at Homestead, doing his burnouts, and we'll get a chance to talk to him. I don't think we're going to get a chance to catch up with the 19 of Rick Christensen. He said he wasn't able to talk there in the iRacing chat, but we'll get to talk to our winner. We'll start with him, Hunter. It's the 40 of Matthew Robinson.
Matthew, it's Jake, Hunter, and the Harold in the booth. Got a copy?
Yes, sir.
Man, what a dominating performance you put on. Had a little bit of a scare there at the end with that late race yellow. In the middle of a 3-wide sandwich there between Christensen and Eli Green. Kind of take us through that last restart. And did you ever have a thought in your mind where oh no, I might not be able to hold off the two drivers behind me?
Yeah, it was a crazy restart, man. I'd wished the one had picked the bottom line, then I could the bottom line or that line could have gone, and but I was uh, I was stuck on the bottom with second place in front of me, which was I knew it wouldn't go, and we'd probably all stack up there trying to all three of us, Eli and Rick and I, and it got crazy. I seen Eli had a run, and I'm like, oh boy, here we go, 3 wide. And I thought I lost it there. He got the bottom line, and luckily I got back into gas, and four tires stayed up underneath me to power off and clear them, so I could battle the rest of the guys in front of me. But yeah, it was too close for comfort there for sure.
Well, I wanted to talk about, I mentioned it a few times throughout the broadcast. I actually saw you and your teammate Nick Halda earlier on today. I mean, you guys were running practice lobbies and you were really preparing for this race. So kind of what went into those practice sessions earlier on in the day?
Just feeling the track out and seeing what settings we need to make on the for the car, the few settings we have for fixed setups, and seeing what works with me and what works with Nick, and trying to help each other out with the lines and saving tires and doing fuel runs, and just it's a whole team effort, trying to come into a league race like this, and just be prepared for anything that could happen.
Yeah, well, I think the practice paid off, needless to say. I mean, you were definitely the dominant car here tonight, but I know it wasn't as easy as it may have looked out there.
Oh no, it was definitely loose. It got better as about 15 laps into the run. It got a lot more stable center off. But it was I had a comfortable lead, and I was trying to just save my tires after those pit stops, and try to be better at the end so I wouldn't burn them off. And but I had to shake it up there at the end with a 10-lap shootout, which I thought was pretty exciting.
I wanted to give Hunter there a chance to jump in. I guess he's good on questions. So Matthew, congratulations, man. Big win here on the number 40 team. I know you probably got some sponsors you want to say thank you to before we let you go.
Yeah, I'd like to thank JW Racing, Justin Rideout. He was up in the booth today, and he's been working out of town, so he's been on the laptop with us the last couple of weeks, just talking with us with strategy and everything. And I couldn't do it without him tonight. And Nick Halda, I couldn't do it without him. They both were a lot of help. And I'd like to thank Track Racer. You can use JW Racing as a discount code on their website for anything on their website. I'd like to thank. Well, that's probably about it. I'd like to thank y'all, Jacob Bell, for putting on the league. It's a great league, great broadcast. Harold and Hunter, y'all do an amazing job. I watched I think I watched all 4 of them last week, so I'm looking forward to this week.
Well, I appreciate it, Matthew, man. Obviously, you did a great job out there tonight. Congratulations on your win. First career win in area, so that should be a pretty good little ring to it heading on to next week.
So am I locked in?
You are. I mean, there's a couple more things you got to do. You got to be top 20 in points. You got to make, I think, 10 out of the 12 regular season races. So there's still a little bit more of a road left to go. But yeah, I mean, right now you would be in the playoffs if it started tomorrow with that win.
Sweet.
There you go. Well, we'll look forward to seeing you next week, Matthew.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
There was Matthew Robinson. Thought for a second he might say "love you" there at the end. That was a little weird. Here we go. We're gonna jump down to third place. Eli Green. I don't know if Hunter's here. Hunter, you got a copy, man?
Oh yeah, I'm here.
All right, just making sure, man. Just making sure. We're gonna get a chance to talk to Eli Green. Of course, Rick Christensen said he's not able to talk there on Discord, but Eli coming home, man. Third place finish. You made that crazy move down the backstretch to make it 3 wide. I thought that might have been the race winning move for you there at the end.
No, I hate this track. It's terrible. I can't win here. Never have I ever.
Well, I mean,
Well-
finishing third's got to be a good feeling for you. Or actually,
I'm
third.
surprised. I'm surprised I got that spot, to be honest with you. They were definitely faster behind me. But, I can hold on for about 10 laps and then I'm done.
Well, kind of take us through that last restart because we saw you make it 3 wide on the bottom, and at a moment we thought that whoever would come out of that 3 wide situation, that would be for the win. Just kind of take us through that.
Well, I don't know. It just kind of worked out that I got a good run on them, and I like being aggressive. I got to make it. Somebody's got to make it interesting, So I just threw it to the bottom there and hope it would stick. It didn't really stick as good as I wanted it to, but it stuck good enough that I got around Rick, so that definitely helped me get ahead a little bit. So I got at least the top 3. Sure, I know that, but Matthew's just so fast. But I didn't put any practice into this, so I just kind of came out here and was winging it. So I think I did pretty good considering.
Well, yeah, I would say a top 3 run at a track like this, not an easy one. So it obviously was an impressive day for you nonetheless. But moving on to Iowa next week for race 3, I mean, what can you expect to see there for the 28 car here?
Well, I consider myself to be extremely good at Iowa in the ARCA car from past experience. I don't know if they've changed anything because I haven't run it in a long time, but I generally am extremely fast at Iowa, so I'm definitely much more looking forward to running there than I was here. So we'll just have to run it down again next week, I guess.
Absolutely, man. So we'll see you there next week at Iowa. Want to say congrats on your 3rd place run here tonight.
Yes, thank you.
That was Eli Green. I don't think he was very happy with that run there, Hunter, but he did get the 3rd place nonetheless. And that's going to wrap up our post-race interviews here tonight.
Yeah, unfortunately, we can't talk to Ray Christensen. He's got some technical difficulty issues on his side. But Swift Lifestyles Pro Series, race number 2, done at Homestead. Matthew Robinson being the winner in a late, thrilling finish. Ray Christensen finishing 2nd, Eli Green 3rd, Sean Corker in 4th. And then at the very end, Jordan Berry holding on to that top 5.
And then 6th place, Forrest Smith. 7th place, Gary Lewis. Solid run for the opening One Mind to Design Motorsports ARCA team with a 6th and 7th place finish there. Trevor Williams with an 8th place finish. Nice little finish after having to stay out there at the end. 9th place, last week's winner, Nick Halda from Daytona. And then rounding out the top 10, the 98 of Jake Fleming.
And then 11th through 15th here, going to be Bobby Tinch, the last one on the lead lap. Kevin Haston, 12th. Nolan Neiman, 13th. Brian Dixon, 14th. And Dominic DeLeo, 15th.
16th place, JJ Wang, the number 00. 17th is going to be 34 of Rick Ward. 18th, Brandon Hedrick. 19th, Matthew Hedrick. And then rounding out the top 20, James Shanewolf.
And then the rest of the field's going to line up 21st, 22nd, 23rd, and 24th. Jacob York, Eric Shugart, Michael Leip, and Caleb Steimer. Jason Higginbottom and Tress Henderson, did not make it to the start.
And that's going to wrap up our coverage here tonight. You see the race recap presented by McConey Setup Shop. Want to say a big thank you to everybody watching here on Twitch tonight. It was a pretty good show, and it's an honor to put it on here for our producer, Harold Darner, and Hunter Sleppy as well. Want to invite you guys to join us tomorrow night for the Truck Series race, Northern Capital Truck Series live here from Homestead. Until then, we will see you tomorrow, and I want to say appreciate everybody checking out the Twitch channel. Hunter, Harold, is there anything you guys wanted to add?
I was just going to give a shout out as to next week also for Swift Lifestyle Pro Series. 165 laps at Iowa. Did hear from Eli Green saying that he likes Iowa a lot, so could expect to see him running up front.
Absolutely. Well, look forward to that, and we look forward to seeing you guys back here tomorrow night for the Northern Capital Truck Series from Homestead.
What an exciting race brought to you by One to Go Studios. Here they come out of turn 4 to the white flag, and it's 1 to go. Thank you to all our sponsors, drivers, and viewers. We'll see you at the next turn.